welcome to our Yoga Intermissions. I am Karen coming to you right from Salt and Sand Studios in Warren, Vermont. The room still feels really energized and toasty from the yogis we had last night for a spa. But today we are going to focus on, as I call it, side to side. So my ultimate goal here is to work us to a half moon, which not all of us can do. And sometimes it's in the moment. But we're going to start by stretching and strengthening all of the places that are necessary to work up to that posture, even if we don't move our way into it. So we're going to do some stretching of the legs and the shoulders. We'll do some core work. And we'll do a little bit of balancing, but we're going to start on the mat and sort of emulate some of the aspects of half moon on the ground. So let's get started like we always do with a nice long spine. And if you've crossed your legs in the way that you normally do, even if you did it without thinking, go ahead and cross your legs the opposite way, unless you have some physical limitation. It can always help to place something underneath your knees if your knees are way up above your hips. Hands can be anywhere it feels okay for you. But we're going to start, excuse me, apparently with a yawn. We're going to start just noticing the breath. Notice where the teeth are. Are they clenched? Maybe you loosen them. The eyes are softly shut, or perhaps they're very lightly opened, and the gaze is forward and down. We'll take the first two fingers of the right hand, place them on your forehead, right between your eyebrows, and rest your ring finger on your left nostril, your thumb on your right. We're going to take a traditional Tibetan breath today. So block the right, breathe in through the left. Block both. Open right, breathe out. Block both. Open left, breathe in. Block both. Open right, breathe out. We take that again, blocking the right, inhaling through the left, and blocking the left, opening the right to exhale. We'll switch it up. Breathe in through the right, block, breathe in out through left, block, inhale right, block, exhale left. Block. Last one, a breath in, right. Block. And fully exhale left. Unblock nose nostrils, both nostrils. Breathe in through your nose. And out through the nose. Drop your hands by your sides, a huge slow breath in, and draw a circle, lifting the arms up by the sides, out from the shoulders. Keep going nice and slowly all the way up. The palms draw together, the tailbone pressed to the earth, and maybe the gaze moves upward toward your thumb. Just finding a little bit of space here. Bring your ears between your biceps and take a tilt over to the right, allowing sort of a curve of that left side body. Up straight, exhale the other way. Inhale, rise up. We're going to place the fingertips behind the neck or between the shoulder blades, and then press the head back into the forearms. We're starting to open up the shoulders. We'll do this a little bit just in a few minutes in child's pose as well. Interlace your fingers and press the palms to the back of the head. Lift the chest, draw the pelvis forward, open up your elbows. Feel those shoulders start to open up. And now we take another tilt to the right. Rise up, tilt to the left. Rise up, right hand down, left arm high, and tilt. So the deepest tilt so far. See if you can round out the rib cage on the left side. Heart lifts. Maybe your gaze lifts. And we take that to the other side like so many windmills. And we rise up. Arms come in front of you. They lock back into the shoulders. Breathe in. Twist to the right, bringing your right arm behind you. Stretch the left arm. It might move off to the left a little bit. Drop your right hand behind you. Lift your left arm, a little back bend. Back up, arms east and west, and then forward, arms lock into your shoulders. Breathe in, and a twist to the left. Left arm leads you, and maybe the right arm stretches farther away from you, a little to the right. Left hand down, right arm high for a little back bend. And see, we're getting all of the movements of the spine in. Come upright, arms in front, and release your hands to your thighs. Find some seated cat-cows here. And then sit up nice and tall. We're going to work the core a little bit, but in a very different way than we have done in this practice before. We're going to use Kapalabhati breath, which is you breathe in as fully as you can. I like to keep my hand on my belly, and you use the belly muscles and the diaphragm to force the breath out. You don't take a breath in between. So let's try it out together. And if you feel like you didn't quite get it, you can watch me the second time, or you can watch me the first time. Heck, it's your practice, not mine. So hands on the belly, breathe in deep. And go, ha, 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 ha. Breathe in. See if you can go 7. Ha, 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 ha. That was 9. And again. Ha, 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 ha. Nice. If you'd like to take that one more time on your own, feel free. Maybe speed up the cadence of the forcing the air forced out. No breath in between those ha, ha, ha's. Maybe we should do laughing yoga. All right, beautiful. So that is the first start on the work of the core. I'm going to remove my cushion. Oh, and I had mentioned in the description, if you have a block, I would grab that. You can always use a cushion as well, even a couch cushion or something. So now we're going to go ahead and take the feet onto the ground as wide as your mat. Your hands are behind you in any way that feels okay. For some, if your wrists are a little wonky, maybe the fingers go side to side. We're going to drop the knees toward each other. We're going to take a torso twist. Nice and slow, trying to keep the sitting bones on the ground. So that might mean that your knees don't go all the way over and touch the ground, and that's okay. This is also a little stretch in the IT band, in your inner thighs. Good, 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 good. And now we move the feet a little together. And go ahead, lift the right knee in. Give it a nice little squeeze. If you're holding on to the shin, that actually helps you draw your belly in and up as well. So I kind of like the Dua Lipa action of that. The big toe of the left foot is really pressing into the ground. Hard to do, right? We're going to take ankle circles with the right foot and then the other direction. We'll open and close the toes. Then we're going to gather that right ankle upward and across the left knee. This is about as far as you need to go. You're going to try and lift the heart and the belly toward your shin and drop your shoulders. We're just starting to open up and lubricate the hips. So open hips, open hamstrings, open shoulders, core, and balance, of course, all critical for our half moon, standing half moon. But some of us may stay on the ground for that. We'll see what happens. All right, hug that knee back in and bring the foot to the ground. Other side, left knee hugs in, hold on to the shin, but make sure the big toe mound of the right foot is all the way on the ground. Shoulders drop away from the ears, and we take circles with our ankle. Opposite direction. And then a nice little lift of the ankle above the right knee, seeing if we can keep the chest toward the shin and the whole right foot on the ground. We protect our left knee by flexing or activating the left foot. Now, of course, there's one direction of spinal movement that we did not take, which is the fold over. So we're going to go ahead and place that foot on the ground, draw the soles of the feet together. You might, if it feels okay, scoot your sitting bones forward or your heels backward for Baddha Konasana. We're going to take the thumbs, place them inside the arches of the feet, and then peel the feet open like a book, which forces a forward fold. Elbows work to bring the knees closer to the ground, and you may be feeling this in your inner thighs or groin. And finding that fold as deeply as you can without injury. Tighten up the belly, activate the pelvic floor lock, and rise up to your seat. Take the hands behind you, scoot your bottom back so your legs are long on your mat. I'm going to take this opportunity to remove the whale socks. Do whales wear socks? Do they have feet? All right. If you like or need to, bend the knees or place something under your knees for comfort or so that you don't injure your hamstrings. Go ahead. We're going to sit up straight, reach the arms forward, lock them into your shoulders. Pause here. If you're feeling energy dumping right into your low back, draw your navel toward your spine. Now imagine here that we're not aiming down, we're aiming forward. So we have a nice long spine, which helps the stretch. So breathe in and exhale, shift forward. Breathe in, exhale forward. One more time. And come forward. Maybe the hands drop to the shins, the ankles, or the toes. You're working the pinky toes toward your underarms. And we breathe. Nicely done. We will cross our ankles, roll over them, or find whatever other way makes sense for you into a yummy child's pose. Big toes touch, knees are wide. Sitting bones draw to your heels, arms are long and front. So we're starting with a stretch of the spine and the ribs across the sacrum.
So you're working the sitting bones toward the heels. You don't want them continuing to move away from the heels, but rather the idea is they move closer to the heels. And it helps a lot to widen the knees as wide as your mat. As I mentioned, we'll continue to open up the shoulders, and we're adding the underarms to it this time. We bring the pinky side of the hands to the mat. The palms are together, the thumbs face up. This time, like we did when we were seated, the elbows bend and the fingers come behind the neck or between the shoulder blades. Then one at a time, without lifting the sitting bones, you walk the elbows forward till you can't go any farther. And then drop your head, and hopefully you're starting to feel a stretch in the upper ribs, under the arms, maybe even in the triceps. Hands draw down to the mat to allow us into a tabletop. You might take any organic movement here that feels good. Cats, cows, the letter C, left and right. Maybe a little rounding the spine into a form. Cow and cat. And then we work into my favorite glute stretch. So the right leg sweeps up behind you. It is off the mat. The heel is reaching away and you're squaring up your hips. Take a peek over the left shoulder and sweep that right leg above your left calf as far as you can outside your mat, and the shoelace side of the foot comes to the mat. Then glide the front of your right hip all the way to your left heel. It is not a pigeon. You may draw to your forearms, round a little space between your shoulder blades. And you should be feeling this in your left glutes. If you do not, I would check your alignment. So the front of the right hip toward the left heel. You can also tuck your right toes under and float your knee off the mat. That for me is helpful because it brings a little bit more energy and stretch into play. Nice slow breath. And we come back to a three-legged tabletop, knee to your nose, stretch that leg out. And we're going to go for our first side balance. We sweep the right leg over to the right, bring it to the ground. You might kickstand your back foot a little outward, so your left foot toward the outside of the mat, just a tiny bit, and we lift up. Not much of a balance, you might say. True, but there is part of this little sequence here that will be more balanced, especially if you're pressing energy into the outer edge of your right foot. So we're going to take a tilt, left arm up, pelvis forward. We windmill the arms up, take the left hand outside the left knee, right arm high, press the pelvis forward. Set your left hand up a little bit better for balance, and then float that right leg. It doesn't have to come parallel to the earth. That's our first side-to-side balance. Woohoo! Nice job. We sweep that leg back. Hands to the ground, bend the right knee, a little quad opener and glute strengthener as you pump, I almost said pipe, that knee up and down. Draw your knee to your nose and bring it to the mat. If you like a little interstitial child's pose, take it. Otherwise, some movement may help here. I'm making like a Mobius strip with my body. And we find stillness in our tabletop, making sure the navel is drawn in so you're not sinking into sort of the horseback shape. You're rather finding a straighter back body. We float the left leg behind us. Look over the right shoulder, a little peek as you sweep the left leg above the right calf, all the way outside the mat, and then glide the front of the left hip to the right heel, perhaps coming to your forearms and creating some real estate between your shoulder blades. This side might feel different. It's okay. If you need more, tuck the left toes under, lift the knee, and press the heel away from you. Because our balance was asymmetrical, we're going to move into it on the other side. So we draw into our three-legged tabletop, shift the left leg out to the side, place it on the ground. Walk the hands backwards so you lift your shoulders over your hips and press that foot away from you. Lots and lots of energy into the outside edge of the foot. Lift the right arm and tilt. Some of you might have enough stretch in your torso and your pelvis to windmill right into the other balance, but I have to take a little interstitial movement as we windmill the arms down. I have to crouch a little bit to bring the hand down, reach it farther away from you, left arm up, pelvis forward. Maybe you've kickstand your right foot and the left leg lifts. Beautiful. Leg sweeps behind you. Hands come to the mat. Bend the left knee and pump that leg up and down. If you like, you can then draw the knee to the nose and return to your tabletop for a couple cat-cows. I'm going to take a little sip of water. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Move your hands a couple inches forward, tuck your toes under, press the heels down as you use the belly to lift the hips toward the sky, down dog. Pedal in and out. Some of us don't always remember that this is actually core work as well. So you're using this drawing up of the pelvic block and in of the belly to drive the hips up. Rise to the tiptoes, bend your knees so your belly is on your thighs. Look forward and take a walk or a hop or a dance to the front of your mat for a forward fold, ragdoll. Check that your feet are parallel to the outer edges of your mat and maybe take a sway. Nod your head, shake your head, open and close your jaw. Release your hands toward the mat, slowly rise up. We're moving into mountain pose. Hands by your sides, they don't have to touch, and if the palms can face forward, allow that to happen. Check in with the body. Imagine your feet are like tripods, so three corners, the big toe and its mound, the little toe and the heel are all pressed to the earth. And then we imagine a little lift on that inner arch, like we're drawing the energy up from the earth, creating strength in the legs. Mountain pose, tree trunk. Think of those sturdy things connected to this material world. And you get a little taller as that energy draws upward from your inseams to your hips, stacking them over the knees. And then up the sides of the body to the shoulders, stacking them over the hips. And then rounding up to the crown of the head. We're going to rise up to the balls of the feet, working a little on balance here. As I said we would. You're using your glutes, your thighs, your belly. Bring the heels down. See if you can float the toes off the mat. Spread them wide. And starting with the pinky toes, one at a time, bring them down to the mat. It's kind of awkward feeling. But it's also kind of interesting. Beautiful. Bring the hands to the hips. Shift the heart forward so you're straight from the hip to the head. Now sit into your chair. We don't want to be leaning too far forward. You want the energy in your heels. I'm going to take another twist. So arms in front, lock them into your shoulders. Right arm leads you to a twist to the right. Check in with your knees that they are even so your hips are squared up. Arms forward, lock them back in, twist to the left. Draw that belly in and up. Arms forward, arms over your head. Stay in your chair, rise to the balls of your feet. Again, we're working on balance. And bring your heels back down. Beautiful. Inhale, rise up to stand. Exhale for your forward fold. A halfway lift. A forward fold. Step, step back. High plank. Make your way into a low plank. Knees down or not. Find your back bend. And make your way to downward dog, perhaps through a long tabletop. We'll take 3 cleansing breaths. We make our way back to the front of the mat for another forward fold. This time, we'll interlace the hands at the low back, the fingers, or hook them. Lift halfway up, long spine, strong belly. Lengthen your arms, find your fold. Exhale, hands to the ground, rise all the way to stand. Arms overhead, one more time. We're going to bend the elbows and bring the fingers behind us. Stretching out the shoulders. Interlace the fingers, send them to the sky. And then create this beautiful circle of energy downward as you find your fold. A half lift. A forward fold. Step, step back, high plank. And then drop your knees. We're going to work into another side to side, asymmetrical set. So you're going to take that right leg, stretch it long behind you, and bring the ball of the foot behind the left foot. I got to move forward a little bit because I'm off my mat. And we are going to bring the left foot outside the mat a little bit. Right heel comes to the mat, so you're on the inner edge of your right foot. And then you'll press the whole foot to the ground as you float the right arm high. Pelvis moves forward. This might be enough for you. It's like you're between 2 panes of glass. You might be able to float that right leg up. Right hand comes down, right knee comes down, cats and cows. Tuck your toes down, dog. Now walk, a dance, a hop, a skip, a jump to the front of the mat. Forward fold. Chair pose, Utkatasana. Arms in front, they lock into your shoulders. What we're going to do is reach forward with the arms, drop the head so you're sort of gazing at your navel, and draw the navel backward, squeezing the rib cage toward the hips. It's a breath out. Stay there, inhale. Scoop, breath out. Stay there, inhale. Scoop, squeeze the ribs toward the hips. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. Forward fold. We got to create symmetry. So we're going to come back to the high plank. Drop the right knee. Kickstand the right foot a little out to the right. Bring your left toes a little more to the right.
And then drop the foot, the heel, the whole foot to the mat. Pelvis reaches toward the side of the mat. Unfurl your left arm. Hand comes down, tabletop. Tuck your toes, downward dog. Heel forward to your high plank. Drop your knees. Now, if you have a side plank, you are welcome to move into that. I'm going to give it a shot. My left side doesn't work that well, so it doesn't. I'm going to try it on the right side first. So we're going to come back into the plank. If you need to, drop your right knee. We're going to shift our heels over to the right and float the left arm high. If you can raise your left leg, feel free. And you can move to the other side where I have to put my knee down. Right arm high. Maybe float your right leg. So all of this in preparation for our standing half moon. Let's step the left foot outside the left hand and come into Anjaneyasana. Anjaneyasana is your knee down lunge. If you need to shift around to make the back knee work, that's okay. Hands by your sides or over your head. Create your space for your back bend. Squeeze the right glutes. We're going to make our way into Parsvottanasana, pyramid pose. So hands will frame your front foot, back toes tuck. Hike your right foot up to about halfway up your mat and out to the right a little bit. Left hip moves back. We take a little halfway lift. Maybe we use our block. And a forward fold. Bring your back foot into a warrior two position. So you can bend your front knee if you like. The back foot is parallel to the back of the mat. Using your block under your left hand or not, we're going to open up into an extended side angle. If you have a half bind or a full bind, take it. If you have your block, I recommend putting it at its tallest in front of your left foot. And we rise up, warrior two. Extended side angle is a beautiful prep for our half moon, which I couldn't remember the name of a moment ago. Adjust your stance if need be. Reverse. Warrior two, straighten your front leg. Triangle pose. Maybe your hand comes down to the block, maybe not. It doesn't matter how deep you get. You want your booty and your shoulders in the same plane. Keep your right arm lifted. Look down at your block or the ground. Bend your front knee. Shift your weight into your front leg and float that right leg high. Open up your hips if you can. If you fall out of it like I just did, remember it's just yoga. Left hand, right foot come down to the mat. Remove your block, halfway lift. And a forward fold. This time, left foot steps to the back of the mat where we find our Anjaneyasana. Rising up, finding balance. You can always do this with a wall next to you. And for
half moon. I don't know. I can't remember the name of it. The whole plan flow was around that half moon. You can always have your back to the wall. Put your back to the wall. So now we're finding left glute activated, front heel, top of the back foot, finding your back bend. Hands frame your front foot for Parsvottanasana pyramid pose. We tuck the back toes under, lengthen both legs, hike the back foot halfway up the mat. It's in a warrior one position. Maybe you have your block to support. I like to spin my right thigh out so the hips square better, and your fold. We recommend block on its middle edge as we shift the back foot into a warrior two position, bending the front knee. Right hand stays on the block or down inside your right leg. And we take our extended side angle. Left arm high. Press the tricep of the right arm into the inner right knee or thigh. Prepare for your warrior two. I have to extend the length front to back, and with a bent front knee, warrior two. Yay, we're making it there. Reverse your warrior. Arms come back to warrior two. Straighten your front leg. Maybe tuck that left foot a little farther ahead. Reach the right hand forward for triangle, block or no block. But make sure the hips and the shoulders are in the same plane. I need to move my block on the longest edge, the longest side, shortest edge. And we look down at the block or the ground. The hand joins the block or the ground as we slowly work our way into balance on the front leg, left leg high. Maybe your hips square up. Maybe your gaze moves over to the left. Taking your time. If you fall out, try it again. See, I'm doing it with you. I haven't done this in a long time. And we bring the feet together. We find a chair pose and a whoosh. Rise up and a whoosh. And again, whoosh. Drop your hands. Come back to your tabletop. If you like a little interstitial push-up, take it. And tabletop for a back bend. Hips will remain right over the knees. I think everyone on this channel knows that Anahatasana is my most joyous place for a back bend. Hands walk forward till the forehead, chin, or chest is on the ground. And if the head or the chest resists, you can always place something underneath, preferably a cushion. Consider what brought you to your mat today. And imagine that gathering behind your heart, just under your left shoulder blade. And it's filling up the heart and maybe combined with your breath and your compassion, your kindness, your unending love. It starts to spill over. And it draws the heart downward to meet with the earth, as if you and the earth and love and compassion and intention are one. We're going to move into one more back bend. So tuck your tailbone, lengthen the body onto the mat. Bring yourself onto your forearms so your elbows are underneath your shoulders. And imagine you could drag the mat backward toward you as you lift into your Sphinx. If you have a little problem with your low back or you're dumping everything in there, wider legs might feel better to you. And you're drawing your navel in. I can feel the stretch right at the top of right near the breastbone. Heart forward, collarbone wide. And we breathe 3, 2, and 1. Slowly draw to the mat and into a child's pose. If you prefer Balasana 1 with your knees together, you might take that. And in this rabbit pose, the top of the head comes to the mat rather than the forehead, and the arms draw beside the legs. Find your way gently to a seat, about halfway, maybe a little further up your mat. And we'll make our way into a twist. One of my, again, most often twists, the right heel underneath the left thigh, close to the buttocks. You can always keep the left foot just in front of that, or you can scoot it to the other side. You really want to work for a nice tall spine. And if you can, the big toe mound of the left foot is pressed to the earth. Some of you might be able to move your elbow outside your knee to twist, and others will not. Either way will work. We breathe in and twist to the left, softening the shoulders. We're going to come into pigeon, sweeping that left leg behind us, coming up onto the front shin and scooting that back foot backwards. If you need a prop under your right glutes because they're so far away from the mat, mine's a little bit, I'll use my hand, and then we come into pigeon. Turn to those right glutes. Swing the other leg around. Bring the left heel under your left thigh as close to your glutes as possible. And then either the right foot stays in front of the left ankle or you pop it over the other side for your twist. We sit up tall, breathe in, and twist on the breath out, softening shoulders once again. All right, final seated posture, shifting our weight to the left hip. We swing the right leg behind us, coming up so we can bring that right leg straight out of the hip. So you might scoot the leg longer with your toes, and then find your prop if needed and your fold. Alrighty, we come back to our seat and find our way down to the mat. I will go sideways for you for this. Coming all the way down to the mat. Hello, Paul. We find our way into a happy baby. So the knees come outside the ribs, the arms are inside the legs. You take a hold of the outer edge or inner edge of your feet. Tuck your chin. See if the feet can be parallel to the ceiling. Maybe find a little rock and roll for the left and right. This feels yummy, especially after that workout. All that balancing and stretching, all the powering up. And for your final posture, legs up the virtual wall, the palms come to the ground underneath your low back. And you can soften your feet, scoot your shoulder blades toward the hip on the same side. I'm feeling I need a little stretch in the tops of my feet, so I'm pointing the toes toward the sky. And our final posture of the sequence, before we close out, Shavasana. You're welcome to take anything where you can stay for a couple of minutes and softly find your breath. Let the body loosen, melt into the earth. Shavasana. Very gently bring feet to the mat and find your way to a seat. You might rock and roll. You might find your way to one side first. However you do it gently and with awareness. We sit up into our seats and take a moment to reconsider our intention. Remembering that by practicing, you've not only allowed self-care, time for yourself, space for yourself, good things for your breath and your movement and your mind, but you've also created merit that you can share outward with others, really without even trying. For you recall, perhaps, the, I don't know where it came from, but the notion that one burning candle can light 1,000 candles and its light will not be diminished. Same thing with yoga. We share the merit, we share what we learn, we share how we feel after practice. And yet, those feelings that benefit the merit do not diminish from us. Draw your hands together at your heart. Close your eyes. Take a big breath in. Release it. We'll close our practice to the sound of 3 ohms. So we'll chant 3 times if you like. I will chant 3 times. We're going to breathe in. Thumb knuckles meet your center forehead. May you find and create light where you go. May you find sturdiness, steadiness, connectedness, and balance. Namaste. As always, such an honor and pleasure to share the practice with you, and even have some fun with some things that I'm not so good at. There is no perfect. That's why it's called practice. So I hope to see you again, or have you see me again. And remember, if you're ever in Central Vermont, I am here for you on Route 100 right near Warren Village. And if you have the funding and the inclination, feel free to donate on our website. Thank you. Have a good one.